My name is Payal Kumar Avellan, and I'm so honored to be featured in the Women of Emerson series. I graduated from Emerson College in 1999 with a BS in Mass Communications with an emphasis in audio. And I've also since received my accreditation in public relations. So Emerson has sent over some questions for me to answer. So let's get started. So the first question is, what did you do during your time at Emerson that helps you become prepared for your career? So I started my career in nonprofit broadcasting, and the reason why I went to Emerson was because of WERS. So at the time, WERS was student run, so we got major market experience at a student-run radio station. So while at WERS, I was able to take the management class that was associated with the student management. I learned so much about being a manager, which helps me today in my role as a director of communications. And then also just the guidance and support I got from Fran Berger, who was in charge of WERS at the time, as well as Brian Dozer, who was another teacher at the time there. And just all the friendships I made too, all those people after I graduated really helped guide my career and support me to this day. And the other thing that was really great about Emerson that I think really helped me become prepared for my career was the LA program. So at Emerson, at WERS, I was doing a program on the radio called Jazz Oasis, and I really fell in love with jazz. And I decided I wanted to go into jazz broadcasting, and there was two major stations in America. There was one in New York and one in LA. And so I did the one in LA because I'm from Southern California. So I had family close. And also I could do the Emerson LA program. So I actually interned at two radio stations, nonprofit broadcasters in the LA area. One was KJazz and one was KCRW. And before I even graduated from Emerson, KJazz offered me a position because I had done so much of what they already do in terms of live broadcasting and on-air experience that even before I finished my internship, they offered me my first job. So I started at WERS the year I graduated in 1999. And I started as an intern, and I stayed there for 8 years. And by the time I left, I was the director of broadcasting. So it was really wonderful to be able to learn and grow, but also get a running start because of my time at Emerson. Students are always concerned with career pivoting and finding a new industry. How do you suggest overcoming the fear of switching and starting a new path in a different field? So I pivoted from nonprofit broadcasting to a regular nonprofit, and I am the director of communications for a nonprofit in Southern California called The Wooden Floor. And, just getting a 4-year degree, I think, is really pivotal in terms of having a broad set of skills, a broad set of education, rather than, in broadcasting, there are vocational schools, and just the focus is so narrow. I feel like at Emerson, I got to experience so many things, not only in broadcasting, but the history of broadcasting with Donna Halper. I'll never forget her as a teacher. So many things. Having that 4-year degree, I think, really helps you. And now I work with a population trying to get students to get that 4-year degree. Following the statistics, when there is a downturn in the economy, people who have those 4-year degrees oftentimes do much better in a recession and downturn economies than people that don't have that degree. I would say definitely get that degree if you're on your way. And then knowing what you want, after I left KJazz, I went to NPR, National Public Radio, and that was the pinnacle of nonprofit broadcasting. That's what I thought I wanted. But I was doing jazz broadcasting at KJazz, and then NPR, they gave me a lot of cultural stories, but at the end of the day, it was a news station, and that didn't really fit my personality. It was really challenging for me. And so I started to do some soul searching. Also, the broadcasting industry changed a lot, so there was a lot fewer jobs because of advances in technology. And I sort of decided that I wanted to do communications and I wanted to do it in the arts. And so now I work for a dance-based nonprofit in Southern California, and I've been here for 15 years because I was, I knew I wanted to do nonprofit broadcasting, and then when the industry changed, I was able to do some of that soul searching that helped me land in another place that I've been really happy in. Okay, so the third question here is, with your experience in different industries, what transferable skills should every professional have or know? I do manage a lot of younger people, and I feel like computer skills are a must. I think we assume that younger people were born with a mouse in their hand or, some sort of computer device in their hand, but I do run across people that don't know word processing and, just the basic office software. So that's really important, shortcuts, things like that. Organizational skills, I think when you grow, you learn and you start to learn what's best for you, but really maybe watching some YouTube videos on organizational skills. Both those things are highly transferable. And then lifelong learning, I personally love learning, whether it's about my industry or not. So anything can be learned if you have the drive. So when you are switching gears, we live in this wonderful age that you can learn just about anything through Google and YouTube. So I would say that love of lifelong learning is really important and will help you whatever journey your life takes. So the fourth question here is, you ran for city government. I did. I ran for city council here in the city I live in. It's a teeny tiny city in South Orange County called Aliso Viejo. And so it says that I stated that I was encouraged by other women who held political office, and I was encouraged to run by our mayor at the time, who's also on city council, and other women. Former mayors of bigger cities reached out to me. I had been volunteering for a really long time, and so I got to know a lot of people in the political world. And so many people came out of the woodwork and said, oh, I hear that you want to run, or you're thinking about running, and really encouraged me to take that step. I didn't win, but I think I learned a lot about myself. I learned a lot about government. I learned a lot about my community. I met so many wonderful people that I would never have known otherwise, just going door to door and introducing myself to them. So it was a really wonderful experience. And the question continues, what advice and encouraging words do you have for the women of Emerson and Emerson's AAPI community about building a career? I would say look for mentors. So those women, unbeknownst to me at the time, became my mentors when I ran for office. And then at Emerson, Fran Berger was an amazing mentor when I was there, and has been in the years following. I probably call her less now than I did in the beginning of my career, but she was so helpful in terms of figuring things out. Never underestimate the power of a mentor. And then when you get more seasoned in your career, maybe look for people to mentor yourself, especially, with women in careers. It's really important to have someone who sort of blaze that trail, if you will, and has already been there and can really help you figure out your path within that field. One thing I forgot is to be open about your goals. So I mentioned earlier that when I was at KJazz, I went from being an intern to the director of broadcasting. And I think I did that because from the moment I stepped foot in the door, I said I wanted to be a program director or a director of broadcasting, that was my ultimate career goal. So many people, I think as an intern, you're less threatening, and so many people are willing to help you get to that goal someday. So that was something I was able to do at one place, which is unusual, but I think even as you change, either industries or places of work, when you're really open about your dreams, people want to help you achieve those dreams. So that's another thing I would say to keep in mind when you're getting out there, is to figure out your goals and tell everyone who will listen what your dreams are. So the last question is, what are some of the proudest moments in your career, and what do you hope to achieve in the future? So I did graduate quite a long time ago from Emerson, and I sort of thought about this in terms of KJazz and nonprofit broadcasting. At KJazz, I was named the Best On-Air Host by a publication. I was hosting shows at the Hollywood Bowl. As I mentioned, I fulfilled my dream of being a broadcast director. I was also the senior broadcast producer for the Playboy Jazz Festival, which was really exciting. And I was also one of the first Indian American women on the air that I know of. I feel like it's become commonplace these days, and that's so wonderful that at the time, we have this joke, some of us that are of the Asian persuasion, that you can be a doctor, a lawyer, an engineer, or a failure in your parents' eyes. And it's just a joke, but it's so true that going out into broadcasting at the time especially was really something unusual. None of my parents' friends' kids were doing that kind of thing. And so just having the supportive community of Emerson help me fulfill that dream was really amazing and something I'm really proud of. And I love all the South Asian and just Asian voices that we hear on the air nowadays. It's really fulfilling and amazing. And then now that I'm at the wooden floor, I oversaw a rebrand for the organization. So we had an entirely different name, and this was over 10 years ago. And so at the time, changing the name of an organization is really scary. And just seeing that every goal that we dreamed of fulfilling through that rebrand happened is really amazing. And I did shift careers at that time, so it was a lot of learning as I went, but really following the tenets of marketing and public relations, which I learned through getting accredited, really helped me accomplish that and accomplish it in a way that was successful and lasting. So that's something that I'm really proud of. And then being a part of a nonprofit that's helping kids having free long-term arts immersion, and 100% of our students go on to higher education, which I'm really passionate about. And that's in a population where it's about 50% normally go to higher education. So that's something I wake up in the morning rearing to go to help these kids fulfill their dreams. So it's really awesome that I get to do that in this stage of my life. So in terms of the future, I definitely want to keep serving. As I mentioned, I love working with children and helping them reach their goals and dreams. Politics are off the table for now. I have a little son of my own, and running for office as a woman, as a mom, full-time working mom was a lot. And I think that I needed to go through it to know that. I'm not saying I'm done with it forever, but my son needs me, and I'm in the phase of his life where he actually wants to hang out with his mom. So I want to be here for him. So that's what the future is. There he goes, making an appearance. Well, thank you, Emerson, so much for featuring me and listening to me yammer on and on. I look back so fondly on my time at Emerson, and I need to go back and visit someday. And I do love all the friends I made, and like I mentioned, the mentors that I had there that have just shaped my life. So it's one of the highlights of my entire life was my time at Emerson, and I'm so grateful to be able to tell you about it and to be featured. All right, take care. Good luck.